the playoffs, you know, how it was a team effort, you know. Not a lot gets said about Scott Darling, you know, and I think a lot of negative criticism gets heaped on Corey Crawford. You know, he's inconsistent, he's this, he's that. Well, he's won 2 cups, and, you know, who knows, he could have been injured. You know, they like to keep things under wraps if they don't have to be vocal about it. And Scott Darling, you know, steps up and he knocks it out of the park in that series against Nashville. I think that shows you the depth of the team. You know, the opposite team will focus on Kane, Taves, and then you got to worry about Jardin, and you got to worry about Shaw. You know, there really is no 4th line. There's no 3rd line. It really could be interchangeable, and I think that's what helped them, you know, win this cup.
You talked about your relationship with Duncan Keith. Any of the guys that you've become friends with over the years?
Yeah, Sharpie, Shaw. You know, I'm buddies with a lot of them. You know, and I think they can relate. You know, they're all the bumps and the bruises, and they can relate to, you know, what it is that the fighters and the wrestlers go through too. You know, sometimes you don't feel like going out there, but you know, you tape it up.
Show goes on.
Work through it. Absolutely.
Our Jen Ladd is along the parade route. Let's check in with Jen. Fatigue after the party? No, not so much. They're ready to go.
It was funny, Keener was out yesterday, and these guys basically came off the ice, started partying, and didn't stop. And he went, I'm hurting a little bit today.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm sure. You know, when they won in 2013, Sharpie invited me out, and I spent the night with them, and it was pretty interesting. I can't really tell a lot of the stories that took place that night here, but you can imagine. You know, it's a wild night, but it's fun to watch those guys. They're such a tight-knit group, a brotherhood, really. And just to watch them hang out, and I was humbled and flattered. They invited me into their small circle, and yeah, it was nuts. So I can't imagine what they did last night.
As a guy's won a lot of championships and belts, are you amazed at all how that 3-foot, 35-pound Chalice is just such a magnet to smiles wherever it goes?
Yeah, you know, and I think that's why I love hockey so much. There's so much tradition to it, and taking it around, and it's people, you know, everybody gets their week with the cup. They bring it to other sporting events. They bring it to picnics. They bring it to their local rink where they learn how to skate, and it's very much just so awesome to see. You know, that thing just lights people up.
You know, people in a matter of moments. The guy has 2.2 million Twitter followers.
I didn't even know that.
And your fans are legendary with their loyalty to you.
Yeah, they're very passionate. They're very loyal, much like, you know, Blackhawks fans, much like hockey fans. So yeah, if I can turn anybody on to, hey, watch this hockey game. This is great stuff. It's fun to watch. You know, I'm glad I can help out. You know.
What other things are you looking forward to seeing here as the parade gets going and makes its way here eventually to Soldier Field?
Well, I want to hear from Jonathan Taves, because Brian Campbell said to us last week that he was playing golf with Jonathan between the Minnesota series and the Anaheim series. They had 8 days off. And he goes, I got to ask you, man, you've won 2 gold medals, you've won 2 cups, you're trying to win a 3rd, you've made all the money you're ever going to need. So what gets you revved up? And he said, because the day I retire and take my skates off for the last time, I want to know I want as many cups as is humanly possible.
Yeah.
That's what moves me. And he said that's why he's the best leader in pro sports.
Do you think he is the best leader? I mean, you've seen, obviously, your sport, and you're now making the transformation to MMA. Do you believe Taves is one of the best leaders, if not the, in professional sports?
I think he's a leader of leaders. I think you can look in that locker room, and I think anybody can wear that A. I think anybody can wear that C. But I think, you know, everybody is very selfless, you know, and Taves definitely is that leader. I think he's cool, he's calm, he's collected, he's everything you want to be on the ice, but, you know, it's outside the room where he really leads the team, and he's going to do it for years to come. You know, like the nucleus is there, and it's a testament to his leadership how the Hawks have continued to win with the salary cap and with players coming in and out and leaving, and still being able to keep the team positive. And he believes in all those guys, and they all believe in him.
With the type of weather we've been dealing with.
Exactly.
I think everyone said, let's do it at Grant Park, and then you find out the conditions at Grant Park are basically underwater.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't work.
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of people know that. I think people are disappointed it's not Grant Park. But yeah, trust me, you wouldn't want to be there right now. You're covered in mud. Maybe that'd be kind of fun, but you know, I like the atmosphere here at Soldier Field.
So we see the buses making their way right now along the parade route. They begin at Washington and Racine, heading east to Des Plaines. They'll then head south a couple blocks to Monroe and then go east as they make their way to the Mag Mile. Jen Latta is live along the...
I'm going to say, like, I knew I was going to be emotional, you know, but when they won the cup, there's a countdown, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, all the way down to 1. Crawford throws his gloves off, tears his helmet off. Everybody embraces the sticks and gloves are littering the ice, and I was like, okay, I'm all right, you know, like, this is cool to see, but I was kind of mellow, and it felt a little bit flat to me, you know, but then the cup comes out, they wheel out the red carpets, and then the instant Taves handed that cup to Chemo, I lost it.
It was awesome.
I'm not ashamed at all to say that I cried. You know, and I got a lot of friends who are diehard Philly Flyers fans, and that was nice for them to see. But it wasn't just a gift. It wasn't like a, hey, Chemo, we're gonna get you a cup. Like he worked for it, and he deserved it. And I thought the interview he gave right after, I thought that was super classy. You know, he said, this is the price I pay for a 20-year career. And he was ready to just take the cup and hand it right back off.
Yeah,
I said, no, buddy,
take it for a skate.
You skate with it, and you just see the genuine, the joy and the elation as he screams and he lets that all go, that emotional release, and you just see the weight lifted off his shoulders, and he knew going in that was his last game, and he retires a Stanley Cup champion. Hell of a story.
And everything you've got, and in the end, to accomplish the unthinkable.
It's selfless. Like, yeah, everybody who's been there picks everybody else up and brings them up to their level. But they also play to that level. You know, like you said, I mean, Vermette, you know, to me, one of the biggest keys about the Blackhawks victories was winning faceoffs. And that was one of the biggest things Vermette was brought in the Hawks to do. And we murdered everybody in faceoffs. Not everybody, but, you know, especially that last game against Tampa Bay, murdered him in faceoffs. And it's all about that puck possession. You get the possession, you can score. Other teams are worried about throwing hits. If you're hitting somebody, you don't have the puck. You can't win. You can't score.
Before Ryan Kessler tees off today, someone should remind him that a human being can withstand the punishment they were doling out.
And they absolutely can. And, you know, that's really been the question. Will speed overcome the brawn? And it certainly has the last two cups. You talk about the guys that come into the equation.
Watching the game, he said, next year, can I go to the parade? I'm like, dude, relax. I don't know.
Yes, you can.
We're going to be there. If so, you can come.
Punk, you already made reservations for next year. You said, let's do,
we're just going to do it again. Absolutely.
Do it for the Cubs in the fall.
Positive mental attitude. You know, the Cubs are going to win. It's 2015. It's the Back to the Future prophecy. I believe in it heavily. You know, and the Hawks they're not done yet. They'll be back. Absolutely.
Have you noticed too how the hockey conversation has graduated and progressed? You know, you know, QB question for, you know, lineup changes throughout the Stanley Cup playoffs. That wasn't exactly the case in 2013. It certainly wasn't talked about much in 2010.